Good day everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, 3M Music, Math, and Me. Today we will focus on simplifying radical expressions with only numerical radicand. The basic simplifying radical expression wherein there is no letters inside the radical symbol. So before we start, you should know the chart of a perfect square numbers. Why do we need to know those perfect square numbers? Because we will be using the square root of a perfect square number. So here, this is the chart of the perfect squares from 1 to 30. So the numbers with the rectangular blue box are perfect square numbers. You have 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, and so on up to 900. So where do you get those perfect squares? So by squaring a number, you will get a perfect square number. For example, you have 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared. By squaring a number, you will get a perfect square numbers. Okay, so we will use these numbers in simplifying radical expressions. These will be the factors of the radicand. Okay, let's move on. Factor the following numbers in which one factor is the largest perfect square. So we will be using the chart of perfect square numbers to factor the following numbers here. So the numbers, let's have the first number. The first number is 8. So what are the factors of 8 wherein the first factor is the largest perfect square to get the product of 8? So what are the factors? You have 4 times 2. So your 4 there is the largest perfect square. By multiplying the largest perfect square times 2, you will get 8. So the factors of 8 is 4 times 2. Next number, 32. What are the factors wherein the first factor is the largest perfect square to get 32? Correct. The factors are 16 times 2. Your 16 is the largest perfect square. Next number, 45. What are the factors? The first factor is the largest perfect square. Okay. So that will be 9 times 5. Your 9 is the largest perfect square. To be multiplied by 5, you will get 45. So the factors of 45 is 9 times 5. Next, 48. So what are the factors of 48 with largest perfect square factor? Okay, so the answer is 16 times 3. Your 16 is the largest perfect square. Next number, 50. So what are the factors of 50? Very good. So you have 25 times 2. So your 25 is the largest perfect square factor. Next. 98. What are the factors? We're getting higher. Yes. It's 49 times 2. 49 is the largest perfect square factor for 98. Next. 128. What are the factors? So you have 64 times 2. 64 times 2 is 128, and 64 is the largest perfect square. Next. 150. So the factors are 25 times 6. 25 is the largest perfect square factor. Next. 243. This is quite difficult, but you need to look for the perfect square factor for 243. So you have to do trial and error for some perfect square factors. Multiply by 2, 3, 4, 5 for perfect square factors. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get 243. So what are the factors? That is 81 times 3. So the largest perfect square is 81. And the last one is 300. What are the factors? Okay. You have 100 times 3. So your 100 is the largest perfect square factor for 300. Okay, so since you know how to factor now numbers, we can easily now simplify radical expressions with numerical radicand. Okay, let's proceed. I will give you some examples and you will answer. Okay, let's have illustrative examples. So I'll give you 10 examples. So the first example is square root of 48. And the factors are 16 times 3. So how do we simplify square root of 48? Using these factors. So get the square root of 16. So what's the square root of 16? Okay, correct. It is 4. And then the remaining 3 will be inside the radical sign. So it becomes 4 square root of 3. So where did you get 4? It is from square root of 16. So we get the square root of the largest perfect square factor of 48, which is 16. Next, square root of 98. So what are the factors with largest perfect square factor? So it's 49 times 2. Get the square root of 49. What's the square root of 49? Yes, it's 7. And then we will put 2 the other factor inside the radical sign. So the answer is 7 square root of 2. 7 came from the square root of 49. And your 2 here is the other factor. The other factor will remain inside the radical sign. Next, square root of 128. So, what are the factors? Okay, 64 times 2. And then get the square root of the largest perfect square factor. The square root of 64 is 8. And your other factor 2 will remain inside the radical sign. So it is 8 square root of 2. Next, square root of 150. What are the factors? Okay. 25 times 6. And what is the square root of 25? It's 5. And then your other factor 6 will remain inside the radical symbol. So the simplest form is 5 square root of 6. Next, square root of 300. What are the factors? Okay, so you have 100 times 3. So get the square root of 100, it's 10. And then your 3 will remain inside the radical sign. So the answer is 10 square root of 3. Okay, I hope you understand this lesson. This is the basic simplifying radical expressions with numerical radicand. Okay, it's time for you to answer on your own the following questions. It will be in the next slide. Here it goes. But before you have your own examples, let's summarize what you have learned from the activity or from the examples that I gave. So in simplifying radicals with numerical radicand and index of 2, we need to blank the radicand where 1 is the largest blank. So, it's factor the radicand where 1 is the largest blank. So, what is that blank? So, it is a perfect square. And then, second, get the blank of the perfect square factor, then blank the remaining radicand. Okay, so we get the square root of the perfect square factor, then copy the remaining radicand. The other factor will stay inside the radical's sign. Okay, so I'll give you now your own example. Okay, you can pause this video to answer the following radicals. And then, the answer will be posted at the comment section below. I hope you will not cheat for the answers of this. And then this is your assignment. Send this to my inbox. So this is your assignment. Simplify the following radicals. 5 items also. You can also pause this video to copy the assignment. Thank you for watching my demonstration teaching. See you next time. And bye-bye. Don't forget to subscribe here in my YouTube channel, 3M Music Math Me. Bye-bye.